Greetings of the day. My dear students, today I am going to deliver a lecture on, this is the lecture number 3 on power quality problems. Okay, we will continue with where we had left in the last lecture. In the last lecture, we discussed about first of all, I defined the term power quality, and then we discussed about various types of power quality problems briefly and their impact on end users. Okay, let us continue with that. I will write here types of power quality problems. Today we are going to discuss types of power quality problems. Now we will take them slightly in details. And first of all, I am going to write types of power quality problems, and then causes also. Now, let me repeat. Power quality problem I have defined as an occurrence manifested in non-standard voltage, current, or frequency deviation, which results in misoperation or failure of end user equipment. Now, this power quality, as you already know, it is concerned with the deviation of voltage from its ideal, that is voltage quality, and also deviation of current from its ideal, that is current quality. So these deviations actually are called power quality problems, or power quality disturbances, or power quality phenomena. The deviation of voltage from its ideal, deviation of current from its ideal is nothing but power quality problems. Okay. Now, what are the various types of power quality problems? I am going to discuss various types of power quality problems with you. Broadly, power quality problems are divided into two categories. One is voltage and current variations. I will write here voltage and current variations. And another category is called events. So these are the two broad categories of power quality problems. Now each category or each class has its own subcategories, like voltage and current variations can be further classified into number 1. First is voltage magnitude variation. Voltage magnitude variation. This is the first type of this voltage and current variation. This is called voltage magnitude variation. Second is voltage frequency variation. Third is voltage fluctuation. Fourth is voltage flicker. Fifth is current magnitude variation. Or variation. Sixth is current phase variation. And then seventh is voltage and current imbalance, or I should write current and voltage imbalance, because it's actually current imbalance which gives rise to voltage imbalance or unbalance. And last is voltage distortions. Okay. So these are various classes or various categories of first type of, or first group, or first class of power quality problems, which is voltage and current variations. Okay. Voltage magnitude variation, voltage frequency variation, voltage fluctuation. Fourth is voltage flicker. Fifth is current magnitude variation. Sixth is current phase variation. Seventh is current and voltage imbalance, and eighth is voltage distortion. So these 8 categories come under the main subheading of voltage and current variations. Okay, there may be variation in the magnitude, there may be variation in the frequency, There may be rapid variations, and those rapid variations may give rise to flickers. There may be variations in the current magnitude. The current phase may vary. There may be current imbalance, that is unbalanced load may be there, which will result in voltage imbalance. And finally, there may be distortions in currents and voltages. So this is first. Now, second category of power quality problems is events, as I have written here, events. Events are also classified into subclasses. Like first type of event is transients. Partly we have studied it in previous lecture. Transients, then interruptions, the second type of event, interruptions. Third is under voltage. I will write UV. UV means under voltage and under voltage or voltage sag. Okay. Fourth is over voltage or voltage swell. And fifth type is voltage step variation. I mean, voltage may vary in steps. Now, events may be broadly categorized as transients. Transients again may be of two types: impulsive transients, oscillatory transients. Then interruptions. Interruptions may again be short interruptions or long interruptions. Then under voltage or voltage sag. If the dip in the voltage is for a very short period, then it's called sag, and if it is for slightly longer period, it's called under voltage. Similarly, there may be increase in the voltage. The rise in the voltage is called swell. For short duration, if the voltage rises above its rated value, it's called voltage swell. And if the increase in voltage above its rated value or above its nominal values for slightly more period, then it's called over voltage. And then voltage step variation. Why these are called events? Because these transients or interruptions or under voltage or over voltage, etc., they do not occur frequently. They are not periodic in nature. They occur once in a while. Like power supply may get interrupted. Maybe let us suppose this time power supply gets interrupted. It will not interrupt after 2 seconds again or after 2 minutes, after 2 hours. Next interruption may take place after 10 days. Next interruption may take place after 6 months. Okay. Similarly, if there is a transient, transients are mainly due to lightning strikes, and lightning strikes are not frequent, they are not periodic. Lightning strike may occur once in a while, maybe once in 6 months. So these are events, or these are all events because they occur only once in a while. There may be over voltage, there may be under voltage. It may occur at a particular instant of time, and then it will not repeat quickly. It is not periodic. It may occur once in a while, and then it may occur after a fairly long time. That's why they are called events. Okay, that is about the classification of power quality problems. I repeat, power quality problems are broadly of two types: voltage and current variations and events. Now, voltage and current variations, they are further sub-classified into voltage magnitude variation, voltage frequency variation, voltage fluctuations, voltage flicker, okay, current magnitude variation, current phase variation, voltage and current and voltage imbalance, and voltage distortions. And events are classified as transients, interruptions, voltage sags or under voltages, voltage swells or over voltages, and voltage step variations. Let us discuss now first type of power quality problems. That is, the first type is voltage and current variations. I will write here voltage and current variations. Now, actually, these voltage and current variations are small variations in voltage magnitude or in current magnitude around their nominal or rated values. Let us suppose voltage of a feeder is 11 kV. Now, this voltage, feeder voltage in the distribution system, may vary slightly. Maybe it goes from 11 kV to 11.5 kV, sometimes 9.4 kV. So these are slow variations basically. These variations take place slowly, and these variations are not very wide variations. They are slow variations. Similarly, current, if it is say 10 amperes, it may change from 10 amperes to 12 amperes or 15 amperes slowly. Okay, they are not abrupt variations. So voltage and current variations, I will write here, are slow variations. Slow variations of voltage and current around their nominal values. Nominal means rated values. Around their nominal values. Okay, graphically I can represent it like this. Let me show you graphical representation. So this is, say, time in hours. This along x-axis I am plotting time, and along y-axis I am plotting voltage in volts. Okay, let us suppose time is 0 hours, then 5 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours, 25 hours, and voltage here is 220 volts, 225 volts, 230 volts, 235 volts, 240 volts, and so on. Now let us suppose the utility voltages. What is the utility voltage? What's the voltage we are supposed to receive at our premises? It's 230 volts. So it may remain constant for some time, and then it may vary slowly like this, and then there may be variations, some variations like this, slow variations. You can see voltage so very minutely changes, and then there is a small rise, small dip, and then slowly this voltage may sometimes go from 230 to 240 volts. Sometimes it may go to 228 volts, 220 volts, 225 volts, and so on. So there are slow variations in the voltage. So so this comes under the category of voltage and current variations. And I can show the same graph with voltage as a function of probability density function. I will plot voltage along x-axis. Voltage will be in volts, and along y-axis I will have probability density. That's along y-axis. Let us suppose voltages here 220 volts, then 225 volts, then 230 volts, 235 volts, 240 volts, and so on. And probability density function is like this: 0.02, 0.04, 0.06, 0.08, 0.1, and 0.12, and so on. Now this probability density function will vary like this. I mean, it will show variation of voltage like this. This is how it shows. I mean, the probability that the voltage will be around 220 volts is 0.02. The probability that the voltage is around 230 volts, that is rated value, is high. It is 0.1. The probability that the voltage is at 235 volts is 0.06, and so on. So this shows slow variations in the voltage around their nominal value. Nominal value is 230 volts. So therefore, slow variations in voltage and current, they are called voltage and current variations. Now there are causes of these voltage variations, and there are causes of current variations, and therefore these voltage and current variations, we have different categories or different classes. There are different types. As I have already told you, these voltage and current variations are of different types, like voltage magnitude variation, voltage frequency variation, voltage fluctuations, voltage flicker, current magnitude variation, current phase variation, okay, current and voltage imbalance, and voltage distortions. So first type of voltage and current variation is, I will write here, voltage magnitude variation. Voltage magnitude variation. According to IEC, International Electrotechnical Commission, they simply call it voltage variation. But in the literature, you will find that it is also called voltage magnitude variation. So you can call it voltage variation, or you can call it voltage magnitude variation. Now this voltage magnitude varies. What are the causes of variation in the voltage magnitude? Actually, voltage magnitude variation means increase in the voltage. I will write here, increase or decrease in the voltage, oblique decrease in bus voltage, distribution bus voltage, due to there may be slow increase in the bus voltage or slow decrease in the bus voltage. What may be the causes of those voltages, increase in the voltages and decrease in the voltages? What are the causes? Number one, first is change in, or instead of writing change, I should write variation. I should use the word variation. Variation in total load on the system or a part of it. Okay. I mean, let us suppose you have a distribution system and 2 megawatts is the rated load. Now this 2 megawatt load, at 2 megawatt load, the consumer should get the rated voltage 230 or 240 volts. But this load on the system is not going to remain constant. Then during the day, during a period of 24 hours, there are wide variations in the load. You have peak load hours, you have light load hours. During peak load hours, this load, maximum load is there on the system, and increase in the load on the system results in decrease in the voltage, bus voltage. And sometimes there is light load on the system, especially during night hours. You hardly have any load on the system, so decrease in the load results in increase in the voltage. So during a period of 24 hours, there are variations in the load on the system. I mean, total load on the system may vary, or a part of it may vary. And because of change in the load on the system, the voltage may sometimes increase or sometimes it may decrease. So any change in the load on the system will cause variation in the voltage. So this is the first cause. Second cause is action of transformer tap changers. I will write here action of transformer tap changers. Transformer tap changers, in substations we have these distribution transformers, and those distribution transformers are having tap changers, mostly online tap changers. And if these tap changers are changed, I mean if the transformer tap changes, so these are the taps. If you are operating transformer on a lower tap, the voltage is low. So suppose you go to tap 1, tap 2, tap 3, you go from tap 3 to tap 2, what will happen? Voltage will increase. If you go from tap 2 to tap 1, voltage will further increase. If you go directly from tap 1 to tap 4, voltage will decrease. So therefore, if transformer tap changing takes place, that also is responsible for increase or decrease in the bus voltage, and hence voltage magnitude variation. And another cause is switching off shunt capacitors, switching off capacitor banks, and reactors. In substations, I have told you that for power factor improvement, for reactive power compensation, in receiving substations and grid substations, capacitor banks are installed. And whenever capacitor banks are switched into the system, it results in improvement in the voltage. And whenever a capacitor bank is de-energized, it results in decrease in the voltage. So therefore, switching off these capacitor banks or inductors also causes variation in the voltage. So this is first type of voltage and current magnitude variation, that is voltage magnitude variation. Voltage magnitude variation means actually increase or decrease in the bus voltage, which may be because of three causes. Number one, variation in total load on the system or part of it. Number two, action of transformer tap changers. And number three, switching off capacitor banks. So I hope this is clear. So this is first type of this power quality problem, which comes under the category of voltage and current variations. So first one was voltage magnitude variation. We have found what are the various causes of voltage magnitude variations, and of course it is a power quality problem. At consumer premises, we expect a fairly constant voltage, but the voltage magnitude may vary because of these causes which I have already discussed just now. And of course it is a power quality problem. So second category is voltage frequency variation. I will write here voltage frequency variation. Okay, we call it in the literature, it is called voltage frequency variation. If you see IEC literature, IEC calls it power frequency variation. IEC calls power frequency variation. And if you see the IEEE literature, IEEE calls it simply frequency variation. Frequency variation. So IEEE calls it frequency variation and IEC calls it power frequency variation, right? Now, like voltage magnitude, frequency of the power supply also changes. What are the causes of change in the frequency of the system? It is mismatch, mainly mismatch, because of mismatch between generation and demand. G means generation and D means demand. So for example, if power generation is greater than demand, frequency may slightly increase, and if generation is less than demand, or in other words, demand is more than generation, so system is overloaded, so frequency will slightly decrease. So this is the first cause. And then the frequency of the system may vary very fast. I mean, there are certain reasons which cause wide variation. I mean, which cause fast variation of the frequency, like short circuits. The lines get short circuited, or generating system fails. Generating system failure. If the generator fails or generating system fails, or there are short circuits in the system, then they also result in the frequency variations. But those frequency variations are not slow variations, they are fast variations. Actually, anything which is fast, that comes under the category of events. But we categorize this fast, even this fast frequency variation, we do not categorize it under events, we categorize it under this category. So fast frequency variations because of short circuits or generating system failures, they also come under this category. Right, now as far as this frequency variation is concerned, this frequency variation is not it's not a problem. It's really not it is a power quality problem, but it is not a big problem. For example, if you see central power stations or central generating stations, I will write here central power or central generating stations, they are loaded, fully loaded during daytime. Because during daytime you have maximum load on the system, you have industrial load, full industrial load, as during certain hours maybe they are on the system. Commercial load, because all shops, business establishments, offices, hotels, etc., they are open during daytime. And then residential or domestic loads are also on. So that causes full loading of the system. And because of full loading of the system, frequency lags a little bit. Like if your frequency was 50 hertz, it may drop from 50 hertz to 49.5 hertz. So there may be a drop of 0.5 hertz. And during light load hours means during night time, most of the load, like industrial load and commercial load, and also most of the domestic load is off. So you have hardly any load on the system. That causes frequency of the supply to slightly lead. Like frequency may rise from 50 hertz to 50.5 hertz. So there is again an increase of 0.5 hertz. So when the central power stations are fully loaded, the frequency may drop from 50 hertz to 49.5 hertz. That's during peak load hours. And during light load hours, the frequency may drop from 50 hertz to frequency may increase from 50 hertz to 50.5 hertz. But over a period of 24 hours, this is not a problem, because during day there is a dip of the voltage by 0.5 hertz. During night there is an increase in the frequency of 0.5 hertz, so that during 24 hours all clocks are correct. There is no change in the synchronous clocks. And this 0.5 hertz variation in the frequency is not really a big problem. However, frequency variation is a cause of concern in weak electric stations. I will write here frequency variation is a cause of concern cause of concern in weak electric systems. Weak electric system. What do you mean by a weak electric system? A weak electric system means an isolated system, electrical system, or islanded, what we call as islanded system, which is not connected to the grid. You have a rural area, a far-flung area where you have a dedicated generating station, and that generating station is feeding a load, say a load of a village or load of the area, load of the region. And this is not connected, there are no ties to the mainland. Mainland means it is not connected to the grid. Grid actually becomes infinite bus bar, but since it is not connected to the grid, this islanded system, we call it islanded system. Island or islanded system. It is not having any ties with the mainland, or it is not connected to the grid. And this islanded system may suffer frequent frequency variations. So it becomes a cause of concern there. Another is industrial systems or industries. What industries have? Some industries have their own generating stations. They don't purchase power from the grid. They have their own generating stations. Okay. So since they have their own generating stations, their generating stations are also not connected to the grid, and there also they may suffer from widespread frequency variations. So islanded system and industrial power systems may suffer from frequency variations where it is a cause of concern. But our main grid does not suffer from wide frequency variations. There may be a frequency variation of just plus minus 0.5 hertz, which is not a main cause of concern. So therefore, in weak electric systems, like islanded systems and in industrial power systems, the frequency variations may be predominant, and it is a power quality problem for such systems. But it is not really a power quality of concern in mainland systems, in grid substations, in interconnected systems. So that was second. Third is voltage fluctuations. Voltage fluctuations. Excuse me. Okay, I had to change my pen. Third power quality problem, which comes under the first category, that is voltage and current variations, is voltage fluctuations. How do we define voltage fluctuations? We have already considered, studied it partly in the previous lecture. Voltage fluctuation means actually rapid changes or rapid variations in bus voltages. Very quick, very rapid changes or variations in the bus voltages. And this variation in bus voltages from 90% to 110% of rated value. For example, in your home, if the standard voltage that we are supposed to receive is 230 volts, this voltage may drop to 90%. And it may quickly rise to 110%. So it may be something like this. Let us suppose this is the nominal or normal value or rated value. And let us suppose the voltage drops to 90%. Suddenly it drops to 90% of the rated value. So it is like this. And then it may increase, and it may not come back to normal or nominal value. It may go higher than normal value, say 110% of the normal value. And then it will come back to 90%. And it happens very quickly. Then it will come back to 110%. So this is the normal rated value of the voltage. And then there is a dip. The voltage dips from nominal value to 90% of nominal value. And then very quickly it rises to 110% of nominal value. Then it quickly goes down again to 90% of nominal value, and then it comes back to 110% of nominal value. So there are rapid variations in the voltage, and these rapid changes or rapid variations in the bus voltage within this range, they are called voltage fluctuations. Now the question is, what is the cause of these voltage fluctuations? I have already discussed with you in one of the previous lectures. The main causes of voltage fluctuations are: number one, rapidly cycling loads. Rapidly cycling loads. There are certain loads which cycle very rapidly. Cycling means the load increases suddenly and then immediately it comes down, it decreases. Then it immediately again increases, then it immediately decreases. So rapidly cycling loads. Increase in load will cause voltage to fall, say, to 90% of rated value, and decrease in load may cause voltage to go to 110% of rated value. So these rapidly changing or rapidly cycling loads are one of the causes of voltage fluctuations. Voltage fluctuations means rapid variations or rapid changes in the voltage. Another cause is electric discharge lamps or electric arc lamps. Electric arc lamps. Like in street lighting systems, we have electric arc lamps, and those electric arc lamps also cause rapid changes in the voltage. Third may be electric arc furnaces. Electric arc furnaces. Electric furnaces which work on the principle of arc formation. And next cause may be electric arc welding equipment. Electric arc welding equipment. I have given you one example yesterday. So suppose these are the two electrodes for winding. So as soon as you touch the winding, that rod with the job where you want to do winding, okay, a huge current is drawn, and you immediately take it out. When you take it out from this point, an arc is struck in this gap between the job and between this electrode. And this arc, whenever this arc strikes, it results in dip in the voltage. And then this arc is gone after some time. And when this arc is gone, voltage comes back to normal. And then you again strike it. You do it many times like this. Whenever this arc is formed there is dip in the voltage. And electric arc welding equipment, electric arc furnaces or electric arc lamps, this way they cause rapid variations in the voltage. And one more cause I told you yesterday in previous lecture, one more cause may be adjustable speed drives. I will write here ASDs, adjustable speed drives with inadequate DC link filtering. Inadequate DC link filtering connected to weak systems. I mean, what is your adjustable speed drive? I can show it schematically like this. This may be three-phase AC supply here, and this is a diode bridge rectifier, three-phase diode bridge rectifier. It converts AC into DC, and let us suppose it converts AC into DC. Then you are having DC link filtering here. You are having filter capacitor which filters this DC, because this DC voltage may have ripples. To make the voltage ripple free and constant like this, you put a DC link filter there. Then you have an inverter. You have a voltage source inverter, and this voltage source inverter produces three-phase output voltages, three-phase AC, variable voltage and variable frequency, and it is fed to a three-phase induction motor, or I should write three-phase motor. The frequency variation, this inverter output is variable frequency, and variable frequency results in torque control and speed control of this motor. So this is the schematic diagram of an adjustable speed drive. Inverter basically converts DC into AC. So first of all, you have to create this DC link. How do you create this DC link? By converting what is available to the industries. It's three-phase AC. So you have to use three-phase AC to DC converter. It's called front-end converter, FEC. FEC means front-end converter because it is on the front-end side. It converts three-phase AC into DC. And then to remove the ripples in the DC output voltage, VDC, you connect a filter capacitor. And then this DC, VDC, is converted by this three-phase voltage source inverter into three-phase AC with variable voltage, variable frequency, which is then used for the speed control of three-phase motors or three-phase induction motors. Now, if this DC link filtering is not adequate, if this filter capacitor is of a lower value, and your system is connected to, this three-phase AC supply. It comes from a bus, and if this bus is a weak electric system, then this inadequate DC link filtering also results in voltage variations at the bus here. And since this bus does not feed your ASD only, it feeds other consumers also, so other consumers will observe voltage fluctuations. So adjustable speed drives with inadequate DC link filtering connected to weak AC electric systems, they are also responsible for voltage fluctuations. So voltage fluctuations, of course, are rapid variations in the voltage, and they are a cause of concern. They are a power quality problem. Okay. So that was point number 3. Now, fourth power quality problem is voltage flicker. Voltage flicker, or this is also sometimes called light flicker. Actually, what is flicker? The word flicker. Flicker comes from aggravating rapid on-off sensation of incandescent and fluorescent lamps as perceived by human eye. So I can write here, flicker comes from, I'm writing for your reference, flicker comes from rapid aggravating, I should write aggravating, flicker comes from aggravating rapid on-off sensation of incandescent and fluorescent lamps as perceived by human eye, as perceived by human eye. Okay, and these flickers come from voltage variations, rapid voltage variations. Cause of these flickers is rapid voltage variations. And what are these rapid voltage variations? What are rapid voltage variations? They are nothing but fluctuations. We have just few moments back studied that rapid voltage variations are fluctuations. Whenever there are rapid voltage variations because of any of the causes, like rapidly cycling loads, electric arc lamp, electric arc furnace, electric arc welding equipment, or adjustable speed drive with inadequate DC link filtering connected to weak AC system, one of them may cause rapid voltage variations, and these rapid voltage variations or fluctuations, they result in aggravating rapid on-off sensation of incandescent and fluorescent lamps as perceived by human eye. Whenever voltage rapidly changes, the light of your incandescent lamp also changes, because the light intensity of your incandescent lamp or fluorescent lamp is highly sensitive to voltage variations. So whenever there are rapid voltage variations, the light output of incandescent lamp or fluorescent lamp also rapidly changes. It gives rise to aggravating rapid on-off sensation as perceived by human eye. So this is called flicker. This is where from flicker comes. Okay. Now this word voltage flicker is actually confusing. Actually, there is nothing like voltage flicker. Voltage flicker is actually voltage fluctuation. What does voltage flicker mean? It is combination of two terms, voltage and flicker. Voltage, you can say voltage fluctuation. Voltage fluctuation giving rise to light flicker. Light flicker. So it is a combination of two terms, voltage fluctuation and light flicker. Whenever there are rapid variations in the voltage, that is voltage fluctuations, what will they result in? They will result in light flicker. So voltage fluctuations giving rise to light flicker is what we call as voltage flicker. So it is a combination of these two terms. So you should not get confused. Voltage fluctuation means rapid variations in the voltage. Voltage flicker means flickering due to voltage fluctuations. So voltage fluctuation giving rise to light flicker. Now to quantify this, these two terms, that is voltage fluctuation and light flicker, there is a standard, IEC standard 611 000 415, they have introduced a term called flicker intensity. Flicker intensity. This flicker intensity you can find in the literature, you can find in IEC standard. IEC standard 61000-4-15 has introduced this term flicker intensity, and this flicker intensity actually gives you the severity of flickering due to the voltage fluctuation. Whenever there are voltage fluctuations and how much flicker intensity is there, that is given by this term, flicker intensity. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So therefore, this voltage flicker or light flicker becomes really aggravating, it becomes really irritating, especially when this voltage variations or light flickers, they are in this range, 3 to 15 times per second. I mean, your voltage changes 3 to 15 times per second. That causes change in the or flickering in the light. And what is the frequency or what is the rate at which your light flickers? 3 to 15 times per second. If it is within this range, then it is really irritating. And I have told you yesterday that this voltage flickering, this causes, it may cause, damage to the fluorescent lamp, and TV screen may also get damaged after some time if these flickers are not controlled, and it results in health hazard. I have told you, on for human beings, it is a health hazard because it results in irritation, headaches, and migraines, especially in factories where workers are working and this light flickering is frequently occurring there. So their eyes may get irritated, it may cause eye irritation, headaches, and migraines. So it causes health hazard. So therefore it is a power quality problem. So voltage flicker is basically flickering in the light of incandescent lamp or fluorescent lamp because of voltage fluctuations. Now fifth is current magnitude variation. Current magnitude variation. We have been studying voltage magnitude variation, we have studied voltage fluctuations, we have studied voltage flicker, we have also studied voltage frequency variation. Now what about current variation? Like voltage variation, current variation may also take place. Now this current variation may be because of varying loads, because your load draws the current. If the load keeps on varying, then current magnitude also varies. And another cause may be varying voltages, because voltage and current, they are very closely related to each other. If one changes, the other cannot be maintained constant. If voltage, supply voltage changes, that will cause change in the load current. So there are two causes for current magnitude variation. One is that the load itself is varying, voltage is constant but load is varying. Another is that load is constant but voltage is varying. And third cause may be that both are varying. Supply voltage is varying, load is also varying. So that causes current magnitude variation. And this current magnitude variation is very critical in the design of distribution systems. I will write critical in the design of distribution systems. Distribution systems. See, your distribution systems, whether your distribution system comprises of transformer, conductors, and then loads, your distribution system is mainly designed by the peak current. Because your transformer must be able to bear this peak current, peak magnitude of current or maximum magnitude of current. So all components of distribution system, whether it is transformer or lines or any other component, they are designed for peak current. But the revenue of utility, it is determined by average current. What is the average current taken by the load? Okay, so the constant the current is, I will make one statement here, the constant the current is, comma, the cheaper the distribution system is. The cheaper the distribution system is. Because if the current in the system, distribution system, is not constant, there may be wide variations. Okay, so it may acquire very large peaks. And since your distribution system is designed for peak current, not average current, so your distribution may become very costly. But if the current is constant, there are less variations in the current, then distribution system becomes cheaper. Okay, that is about current magnitude variation. That was fifth power quality problem. Sixth is current phase variation. Current phase variation. Okay, ideally, what should be the phase angle between voltage and current, distribution voltage and current? If this is your distribution voltage, V, say 0, pi, 2 pi, the distribution current drawn by the load should be in phase with the voltage, ideally. So this is an ideal situation or ideal case. Current in phase with the voltage. When current is absolutely in phase with the voltage, what is power factor of the distribution system? It is unity, 1.0. And unity power factor means that there is no reactive power flowing, or no reactive power flowing in the distribution system. Your load does not demand any reactive power. But this is an ideal case. And when there is no reactive power in the system, the transport of power from distribution substation to your load is cheap. So there is efficient, it's not cheap, it's efficient transport of power. Efficient transport of power or efficient transmission of power. Because there is only one component of power which is flowing over distribution lines. That is real power. There is no reactive power. And when there is no reactive power, there are less losses. I square R losses are less because of absence of reactive power. So it results in efficient transmission or efficient transport of power. But my dear students, it's an ideal case. Practically, the current never, in our, any type of load, whether it is industrial load, commercial load, or domestic, or residential load, current is never in phase with the voltage. Current and voltage may have this type of relation. Distribution voltage may lead the current, or current may lag the voltage. This may be the relation between voltage and current. Current is lagging behind the voltage by a certain phase angle phi. Okay, so, and this phase angle phi determines the power factor. So what is the power factor of the distribution system? It is not unity, it is cos phi. And this phi keeps on varying. Okay, if you put more and more motors on the system, power factor may deteriorate. I mean, if you put modern power electronic based systems, like your air conditioning system is also modern inverter air conditioning system. In your kitchens, you are using induction cooking range. Okay, you are using inverter based refrigerators, inverter based washing machines. You are using LED bulbs. Then this power factor, this phi increases and power factor deteriorates. Okay. So with modern power electronics converter based loads, the power factor suffers a bit and there is more reactive power flow in the system. But it's not constant, it keeps on varying. Okay, so this is about current phase variation. So the current phase is also very important. It determines the reactive power flow, because when current is lagging behind the voltage, in addition to active power, there is reactive power also flowing in the system. And if the system draws very large reactive power, then this also becomes a type of power quality problem. And you have to then provide compensation for reactive power, because large reactive power in the system will overload the system. It will result in additional I square R losses and so on. So therefore, huge reactive power flow in the distribution system is also a power quality problem. That was sixth. Now seventh type of power quality problem is current and voltage imbalance. Current and voltage imbalance. Actually, this means three-phase unbalance. If you have a three-phase system like this is VA, phase voltage VA, this is VB, and these are line reactances, and this is VC. And on this side you have load, You may have a star connected load, or you may have a delta connected load. This is three-phase load. And in addition to three-phase load, you have single-phase load also. This is the neutral. So neutral wire is also there. This neutral wire is there, and between this line A and neutral, you have some single-phase load. This is single-phase load. Similarly, between this line and neutral, you have single-phase load, and between this line and neutral, you have single load. This is three-phase, four-wire distribution system. This three-phase, four-wire distribution system. This three-phase, four-wire distribution system feeds three-phase loads. Although I am showing only one three-phase load, there may be a combination of, there may be many three-phase loads. And similarly, these are single-phase loads. Now, these are in domestic loads. See, all domestic loads are single-phase loads, and this may be commercial load or industrial load. So this is our three-phase, four-wire distribution system. Now, the problem is that if your load is unbalanced, first of all, what do you mean by three-phase unbalance? Three-phase unbalance, I will write, is a phenomenon. It is a phenomenon which refers to different magnitudes of voltages, of phase voltages, and different phase angles between successive phases, between consecutive phases. I mean, if you draw the three-phase waveform, let me briefly draw a portion of three-phase waveform. This may be phase voltage VA, which I have shown here. Phase voltage VB lags behind phase voltage VA by 120 degrees normally, and it will have same amplitude, and phase voltage VC lags behind phase voltage VB by further 120 degrees. This is VC. This is a balanced three-phase voltage because the amplitude of VA, VB, VC constant. There is no change. If this is 400 volts, this is also 400 volts, this is also 400 volts. Okay, and phase angle between VA and VB 120 degrees, between VB and VC 120 degrees. So such a system is called a balanced three-phase system. But your three-phase voltages sometimes, they may not always remain balanced. They may become unbalanced like this. Like this may be your phase voltage VA. This may be phase voltage VB. Phase voltage VB may drop in magnitude, and phase voltage VC may increase in the magnitude. Now we can see the magnitudes are different. This is say 400 volts, this is 350 volts, this is 440 volts or 450 volts. So this is unbalanced three-phase voltage, unbalanced three-phase system. Now the question is what causes unbalance in the voltage, and phase angles also, sometimes there is unbalance in the phase angles also. I mean, normal relationship between these phase voltages is 120 degrees phase relationship, but there may be phase unbalance also between this and this. The phase angle may be, or phase difference may be 120 degrees, and between this and this it may be 150 degrees. Okay, so this phase angle relationship may also change. So that gives rise to unbalanced three-phase system. Now the question is, what causes unbalanced three-phase voltages? Unbalanced three-phase voltages are caused by unbalanced loads. I will make this statement here. Three-phase unbalanced voltages. Three-phase unbalanced voltages are caused by three-phase unbalanced loads. Your loads may not be balanced. Three-phase unbalanced loads. That means current imbalance may be there. When your load is not balanced, so there is imbalance in the line currents. For example, this is line current IA, this is line current IB, and this is line current IC, and this is neutral current IN. Normally these line currents IA, IB, IC should be constant, so that voltage applied here is VA minus this drop. Voltage at this point is VB minus this drop across this resistance, that is IB into X, and voltage here is VC minus IC into X. And these three voltages should be constant. But if there is unbalanced, if your three-phase load is unbalanced, I mean your load is unbalanced itself, then these voltages also become unbalanced. The example is the single phase loads. You know, whenever electric utilities distribute in a particular locality, they feed single phase loads. They try to maintain balance between, they try to maintain, make the distribution of loads equal. That means if this load, which is given to a certain number of consumers, it's not one consumer, it's a number of consumers. Let us suppose it's 50 kilowatts. If these consumers are also putting same load on this line B, 50 kilowatts, and this is also 50 kilowatts, then what is voltage available here? It is VA minus IA into this X. Voltage here is VB minus IB into X, and voltage here is VC into IC into X. And since loads are equal, single phase loads, single phase load on line 1 is with respect to neutral is 50 kilowatt. Single phase loads on line B or phase B with respect to neutral, it's also 50 kilowatt. And single phase loads fed from line C or phase C with respect to neutral, it's also 50 kilowatts. So they draw equal amounts of currents, IA, IB, IC. So in that case, your three-phase load is, or your load on the system is balanced. So IA is equal to IB is equal to IC. Okay, and then these drops are equal. This drop, this drop, this drop is equal, and the voltages that you get here, three-phase voltages, they are balanced three-phase voltages. But it's very rare that these loads are equally distributed. There is some change. I mean, the loads are never, it's unlikely that these loads will be 100% balanced. If these single phase consumers put a load of 50 kilowatts on line A, this may be only 40 kilowatts here, and this may be 60 kilowatts. Okay, so therefore, the least or minimum current will flow in this line because this line supplies a single phase load of only 40 kilowatts, and maximum current will flow in this line because it is having a maximum load of 60 kilowatts. So therefore, in this case, IA is not equal to IB, not equal to IC. The three currents are not equal. So this gives rise to voltage unbalance. So if I call this voltage as, let me call it as EA, this voltage as EB, and this voltage as EC. This EA will be equal to VA minus IAX. EB will be equal to VB minus IBX, and EC will be equal to VC minus ICX. Since IA, IB, IC are different, so this drop, and this drop is different, so therefore these voltages are different. So therefore, what is voltage applied across this three-phase load? It is not a balanced voltage, it is unbalanced voltage. EA is not equal to EB, not equal to EC. They are not equal. So this gives rise to unbalanced three-phase voltages. And let me tell you that it is not domestic consumers which cause a major unbalance, because in case of domestic consumers, the difference between these loads may be a few kilowatts. For example, if it's 50 kilowatts, this may be 48 kilowatts. This may be 49 kilowatts. So the unbalance is negligibly small. But it is some certain type of single phase loads which cause unbalance. Let us suppose this phase B supplies an electric arc furnace, which is also a single phase load. Electric arc furnace. Electric arc furnace is a large load, huge load. So that draws a large current. And let us suppose phase C supplies electric traction, electric railways. Electric traction, as you already know, electric train is a big load. Electric traction is fed from single phase supply, and electric traction is a big load. So there is a normal domestic load here. We have a normal domestic load here also, but on line B, in addition to domestic load, you are supplying single phase electric arc furnace. And on line C, Your line C is not only supplying domestic load, it is supplying electric traction also. So therefore that causes the electric traction draws large current. Electric arc furnace also draws large current. So therefore that results in unbalanced three-phase voltages. Now these three-phase unbalanced voltages, what will happen if the three-phase voltages applied to three-phase loads are unbalanced? This is your three-phase voltage which is supplied to a three-phase motor, for example. Now this EA, EB and EC, they are not equal. The voltage applied to this three-phase motor is unbalanced. What will it result in? We will study in one of the future lectures that if these voltages are unbalanced, they are not equal, it results in heating, large heating in motors, heating in AC motors. It may be an induction motor or a synchronous motor. So there will be large heating in AC motors, which will decrease its efficiency. And if you want to control the heating or temperature rise, you have to derate your motor. So that results in derating of the motor. That means if the motor was designed for 1000 horsepower, you have to run it at less than 1000 horsepower in order to control the heating. So therefore, three-phase unbalanced voltages fed to three-phase induction motors or three-phase synchronous motors results in large heating of the motors, which reduces the efficiency, and hence you may have to go for derating of these motors. Okay, so there are three. Another problem is that if you have a three-phase bridge rectifier, so this is your three-phase bridge rectifier, which converts three-phase AC into DC. This is DC, VDC, VDC. This is three-phase AC. If these voltages VA, VB and VC are unbalanced, even a small unbalance in the voltages will cause large current drawing by this rectifier. The rectifier will draw large currents even if there is a small unbalance in the voltages, and that may burn the devices. These power diodes, they may get damaged because of large current. So these are the drawbacks of three-phase unbalance or unbalanced voltages. So we have seen that three-phase unbalance or unbalanced voltages are predominantly caused by unbalance in the load, current unbalance. And I have given you the example how current unbalance occurs. And another cause of current three-phase unbalance is single phasing. For example, you have a three-phase induction motor and one of the phases burns, it blows, iska fuse ud gaya. So motor gets supply from only two lines. This line is gone. So this also results in unbalance. Another reason is that for power factor improvement, if this is your three-phase supply, say for example three-phase supply and this is your three-phase load, for power factor improvement, what you do, you connect the capacitor bank, shunt connected capacitor bank across the load. Ye dekhiye. So it supplies the reactive power demanded by the load Q, and it maintains the load voltage constant. But what sometimes happens in capacitor banks में fuses होते हैं. This is a fuse, this is a fuse. Let us suppose इसका fuse उड़ गया, इस capacitor का fuse उड़ गया. As soon as this fuse blows, ये capacitor disconnect हो गया. So what will happen to the voltage of this phase? इसकी voltage dip हो जाएगी because it will not receive any reactive power. Supplying of reactive power improves the voltage, but since this phase is not receiving any reactive power from this capacitor because of the blowing of fuse, so इसकी voltage dip हो जाएगी और इन दो की voltage high है, इसकी voltage कम हो गई, so that results in voltage unbalance. So three main causes of voltage unbalance are non-uniform distribution of single-phase loads on a three-phase four-wire distribution system, number one. Malfunction of capacitor banks, shunt capacitor banks, like blowing of fuse of a shunt capacitor bank is also responsible for three-phase unbalanced voltages, and single phasing of a three-phase induction motor, that is also responsible for unbalance, three-phase unbalance or unbalanced three-phase voltages. Now there are three severity indicators for finding the severity of the unbalance. What are the severity indicators? The three severity indicators are, number one, negative sequence unbalance, negative sequence unbalance. This is first severity indicator. I will explain it. Please bear with me. Second is magnitude unbalance. Magnitude unbalance. And third is phase unbalance. Phase unbalance. These are three severity indicators. Negative sequence unbalance is defined as ratio of negative sequence component of current or voltage to positive sequence component. Positive sequence. See, if your three-phase system is balanced, there are only positive sequence components. There is no negative sequence component. But as soon as your three-phase voltage or three-phase system becomes unbalanced, in addition to positive sequence component, there is negative sequence component also. Negative sequence component is an indicator of, or it is indicative of, unbalance in the system. If the ratio of negative sequence component to positive sequence component, higher this ratio, higher is negative sequence unbalance. So this is a severity indicator. Second is magnitude unbalance. Magnitude unbalance is defined as ratio between, ratio of difference between maximum and minimum currents. Currents means line currents to average line current or average three-phase current. See, you have three line currents, IA, IB, IC. उनके magnitudes different है. You first find what is the minimum magnitude, what is the maximum magnitude. किसी एक लाइन की लाइन करंट मिनिमम होगी, किसी दूसरे फेज की लाइन करंट मैक्सिमम होगी. उनके दरमियान डिफरेंस निकालिए. से लेट अस सपोज IA is maximum and IC is minimum. So IA minus IC divided by average of the three phase currents, average of IA, IB and IC. So IA minus IC, that is difference between maximum and minimum magnitude. This divided by average of three phase currents, that gives another indicator of severity, that is magnitude unbalance. Higher this ratio, that means higher is the unbalance in the currents. Third is phase unbalance. Phase unbalance is ratio of maximum and minimum, or I should write greater and smaller, ratio of greater and smaller phase angle or phase difference between consecutive phases. I told you that in a three-phase system, the phase angle or phase difference between VA and VB is 120 degrees. Phase difference between VB and VC is also 120 degrees. And phase difference between VC and VA is 240 degrees. But if there is phase unbalance, these phase angles or phase differences change. Now, the ratio of greater phase difference and smaller phase difference between the consecutive phases, that gives phase unbalance. So these are three severity indicators. One is negative sequence unbalance, another is magnitude unbalance, another is phase unbalance. So these indicators are an indicator, or they are indicative of how severe the unbalance is. Once you know these indicators, these severity indicators, उससे आपको आइडिया मिलेगा कि voltages में unbalance कितना है, या three phase unbalance, how much is three phase unbalance, and accordingly you may take the corrective actions. So that was about 8th type of power quality problem, that is current and voltage imbalance or three phase unbalance. IEEE generally calls it three phase unbalance. If you see IEEE literature, they call it three phase unbalance. लेकिन अगर आप IEEE का एक standard देखोगे, IEEE standard 1159, they use the term three phase imbalance. वो imbalance का term use करते हैं. Okay, some literature calls it three phase unbalance, and this standard calls it three phase imbalance. So you can call it imbalance or unbalance, meaning is the same. So that was about various types of power quality problems. We have discussed about 7 types of power quality problems which come under the first category, that is voltage and current variations. What was the first power quality problem? It was voltage magnitude variation or magnitude variation. Second was voltage frequency variation or frequency variation. Third was voltage fluctuations. Fourth was uska consequence, that is flicker, voltage flicker. Fifth was current magnitude variation. Sixth was current phase variation. Okay, and seventh was current and voltage unbalance or three-phase unbalance. Okay, now eighth one, which inshallah we are going to discuss in next class, is voltage distortion. ओके उसमें हार्मोनिक्स वगैरह का कॉन्सेप्ट आएगा, हाउ voltage distortion or how harmonics are introduced in the system and how these harmonics cause current distortion and voltage distortion. And once the voltage has got distorted, what are the bad effects of voltage distortion on end user equipment? We are going to discuss that in next lecture. And then we will take events. Events is second type of power quality problem. Events may we will discuss about transients, voltage sags or under voltage, voltage swells or over voltage, and interruptions. Okay, so that will mark the end of various types of power quality problems. So with this I will conclude my today's lecture. All the best to all of you. Please go through this lecture and try to study, interact with me. In case of any doubts, you are free to ask me, interact with me. So I wish you all the best again. Thank you.